Welcome in to the third installment of the DNVR Avalanche Division Previews. We're into the Western Conference with the Pacific Division, historically the weaker division of the Western Conference. I'm not entirely sure that will be the case this season, but certainly the San Jose Sharks are not going to be good.
Yeah.
They're going to be...
teal. They're going to be very teal.
They will be very teal with those pants.
I think they're going to be interesting because they've got some really, really good players. Between Tomas Hertl and Logan Couture and Timo Meier.
There's some talent there.
Like, there are some guys that are like... these.
They also have
really good
6
players.
goalies, and I'm not sure any of them are a starter.
Well, and they've already moved out Aiden Hill, so, like, the churn is on, baby. Like, that's... Yeah, they've taken their goaltending carousel that has been kind of their MO over the last 10 years to a very new level this year. They're bad, man.
Yep.
That's all there is to it. They're expensive, they're old, they're bad. We'll see how if they can get a guy like an Eklund to stick and how he does. If not, it's like watch the veterans that keep re-signing there for some reason.
Right.
Because San Jose is dope.
Long term too. Like I just don't get it. San Jose's all right. Like as a city, it's okay.
I actually...
It's expensive.
I do not like
That's
San
the
Jose
thing.
at all, if you're asking me personally.
It feels
but-
like you're in like bad California. Like you don't, like you.
Well, it's the draw
Sorry,
to
Katie.
California is supposed to be it's like beaches and nice weather and all that stuff and like that's the trade-off to like it's overpopulated, there's people everywhere.
Well,
it's like no, but you get all the nice stuff.
So that's the thing.
San Jose's like Highlands Ranch. Like it's like nice, but
that's
like
I think it's
San Jose is
it's
like Islands
it's
Ranch.
California. It's nice,
it's
and
so
it's
cold.
not the hell of people that is LA or Anaheim.
yeah, but it's a different kind of like.
It's
Again,
it's tech bro hell.
If you're asking
right,
me,
right.
I don't want to live there.
I mean, look, I say that as I grew up in Highlands Ranch, and like my point is like I can get Highlands Ranch here. Why would I go pay more expensive Highlands Ranch to be in California? Like I just
Tomas Hertl did not have Highlands Ranch growing up. So.
hey, he could have moved to Denver. He could have lived in Cherry Creek.
Anyway,
it's way nicer than San Jose.
Cherry Hills would have been a cool place for that guy.
Right.
I'm just saying, like,
Pretty much anywhere other than San Jose would have been super cool and probably less expensive.
bring up the rest of our predictions here as we move on from San Jose, and we're sticking in
wow,
California.
Seattle hater, huh?
Yeah, it's not
No,
that I.
it's
not
an
that I-
Anaheim believer.
Yeah,
All right, okay.
It's not that I hate Seattle. It's just I stared at Anaheim and I said, I can't put Seattle ahead of this roster because Trevor Zegras is too dope. They do have some genuine good young talent on that
Keep
team.
from getting blown up.
I want to believe John Gibson can return to being a good goaltender,
I'm a
if
big John
not
Gibson
like
guy.
an elite one.
I'm a big John Gibson guy.
At
I'm with
least
you.
return to good, but you guys have him at the bottom, so
Wait, who?
Anaheim.
Okay, pull that back up. Yeah, there we go.
bottom.
Oh, I do, huh? Yep, look at that. Look, I'm a big Anaheim. I talked about it a bunch last year. I liked that team. I liked the young group. I have them at the bottom this year because this is the changeover year. They are officially moving on from the old guard. Ryan Getzlaf retired.
Yeah.
You're asking a whole new crop of people, a whole new crop of kids to step in and fill that leadership role. I'm with you. Trevor Zegras is dope. Troy Terry, Highlands Ranch. While we're talking about it, he knows. See, he
point.
wouldn't sign in San Jose. He's like, yeah, I grew up here. I think they're really good. I just think this is too much of a transition year. Next season will be the season where I'm on the Anaheim train with you, but can't quite get myself there yet.
Yeah, the difference between last year's Anaheim and this year's Anaheim, both bad, but last year, stale. This year, young and exciting. New approach, fresh voices in the organization, aggressive trade deadline, lots of youth. The movement is on. Mason McTavish is coming in. Trevor Zegras is obviously now like their face for the moment, but really turning
Jamie
it over.
Drysdale.
Jamie Drysdale is there. It's really just turning it over to the youth and the prospects and the kids that they've been accumulating the last couple of years.
So the one thing that really pushed it over for me, and why I have him higher than you guys, is I'm a believer in John Klingberg.
Interesting player to hinge your playoff beliefs on. Of all the names on the roster, I was not expecting you to say.
For the record, I don't have them making the playoffs.
John
I have them in
Klingberg
fifth.
as the name there,
especially when he's moved in December.
Well,
I believe the Ducks are dumb enough that Klingberg will make them better, and they'll do the thing where they hold on to him when they shouldn't.
Now here's what I will say. Anaheim, Orange County, that is the type of place where, again, it's like, yeah, you're in California, but it's beaches, it's nice weather year round. Like, I could even see John Klingberg re-signing there because of the youth. Again, it's just interesting to me that of all players on that decor, you single out John Klingberg and not Jamie Drysdale, who I'm excited to see on the Anaheim back end.
Jamie Drysdale will be good, but I've never been in love with his game.
But again, it's the new, young, exciting, fresh faces.
Sure.
It's like, yeah, John Klingberg.
He's not even their best young defender.
Ben had John Klingberg.
Owen Zellweger is going to take over that.
Wow. Sure, I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so.
Calm down.
It's going to take a few years. But that guy is for real.
But again, my point more than anything else is, to me, the fun, interesting part about Anaheim is all the youth. And Rudo's like, nah, this guy that just got ran out of Dallas. Like
John Klingberg, baby.
Look, the youth is the fun part, and it will be exciting.
Kroger brand Tyson Berry has got Rudo like
pieces
woo!
like John Klingberg that take you from a youth team who does a bunch of cool stuff and is young and gets crushed.
That's why I'm with you that they hold on to him and they re-sign him.
All right, at least we got that going. We'll lose some more stakes to AJ when they trade him.
I don't even eat steak.
After that, the middle of this division is literally anyone's
chaos,
guess.
dude.
Yeah,
look at how different all these look. Outside of the tip top, all of these are so funny and how different they are.
And honestly, even even Anaheim. San Jose is the one team to me that I expect to be at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anaheim's youth, I think they're skilled enough that you could have a fun little lightning in a bottle. They all score a bunch of goals and no one really expected it.
It'll be a dope month and a half.
Right. I'm not. They're
gonna do the classic Buffalo.
Yeah.
They're gonna have an awesome
10-game
40 days of the season, and then
they
they're
did
gonna
last
be
year.
Dog shit.
I guess my point is even this division is so chaotic that if you told me they did a whatever it was 18-19 Avs where they squeak into the playoffs on the last day. My point being, this division's so insane that wouldn't even overly surprise me. You know what I mean?
The only thing San Jose finishing last is the only thing I truly feel confident about.
Yeah, me too.
Literally,
me too.
Everything else,
7.
yeah.
I'm on board for. There's a couple of things. Calgary and Edmonton missing the postseason
would be surprising.
I don't need to rant about Edmonton again. They
would
burned
be-
me too many times.
Missing the post. Even you have them in the postseason.
I know, but I'm expecting to get hurt again.
But I just think that those two teams, as constructed, missing the playoffs would be a bridge too far for me. But
let's
I
continue.
was gonna say, 'cause
Rest of this is
Edmonton, I
crazy.
have thoughts on.
We'll get to that. I want to continue the believer thoughts first. Jesse, you got Seattle in the playoffs.
I do.
Sell me.
Or at least fighting for a wild card spot.
Sure.
Look, I just there's no way Philip Grubauer is that bad again. There is just no way he's that bad again. So I think you're going to get an improvement in net. I like what they've done up front. Their problem last year was scoring goals. They've added some goal scoring. I think Andre Burakovsky in particular, this is an Avs show, right? I think he's going to get kind of, I don't want to say more opportunity because that dude was played with some really good players in Colorado. More ice time. He's going to be looked at more as the guy. He will be the trigger man on PP1. I think he's going to be set up well to succeed there. And then their back end was the one thing that everyone said coming out of that expansion draft they did well, right? And if you look at the numbers last year, they were a decent defensive team that was just brutally let down by goaltending. I think the goaltending picks up a little bit. I think that defense is solid, and I think they get some good scoring help. And again, so much of this leans into the chaos that is this division, that I think that could be a team that could play well, win some games, and put themselves right in the thick of it to be in a wild card spot.
See, my concern is Andre Burakovsky's going to get more playing time. He has to come in there and be the guy, which I'm not convinced he can be. And 100%. They still haven't answered that question. You still have Yanni Gourde up there. You still have those guys. And, maybe Matty Beniers shows up and is dope away.
I was going to say, not to mention Matty Beniers, Shane Wright.
And if those young kids hit immediately for them, that's where I see them getting into the conversation of making the playoffs. but I'm just not ready to accept that.
No, and look, again, if this was any other division
from last year, where I was worried about them scoring goals, I'm still worried about them scoring goals. My thing, if you look at the defense, I think the Giordano loss is going to be really big.
Do you think so? I guess, and maybe that's me underselling Mark Giordano.
The area where he's really good defending is right in front of his net. Mm-hmm. And I think that the rest of their guys, like Alexiak, Larson, Vince Dunn doesn't even play defense. So I just think that there's like it's a solid defense.
Yeah.
And I think when you go and you look at the roster, you're like, yeah, this is solid. This is solid. This is solid.
But there's nothing elite.
There's nothing high end about it. I think Burakovsky, Bjorkstrand, Schwartz, Eberle, those are 4 pretty good goal scoring wings. Yanni Gord, Matty Beniers down the middle, maybe Shane Wright. I think it's probably still too early for Shane Wright.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of see how the rest of that lineup shakes out. I think that having Brandon Tanev back is going to be really helpful because he's a really important glue guy that they missed a lot last season. That's not going to help them score goals, but it's going to help them kind of the all around 200-foot game. I think that they're going to be okay goal scoring, but when you add Bjorkstrand, when you add Burakovsky, you have Eberle, you're really soft. And you're talking about guys that these are not guys that are going to be hard to play against.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They can solve the problem of these guys can wire some pucks home and get you a couple of free goals, but they're not going to go into corners. They're not going to win battles. They're not going to do very well outside of transition and power play. They're going to lose a lot of the physical element of the game, and they tripled down on that in the offseason in the hopes of scoring more goals. I think they will do that.
It's a pretty harsh comparison, right? So you saw last year guys like Lehkonen and Nichushkin for the Avs.
Yeah, guys that win battles, and how important were they for the Avalanche? Sure. Not even just the postseason. I'm not even getting into that.
I was going to say, we're not trying to make that jump.
Yep. You win battles. You don't need... you win battles, you create grade A scoring chances, so you create transition opportunities just by the bucket full. Those are the easiest areas to score in the NHL. They're going to be fine. The Avs are going to be just fine. Where Seattle, I think they're going to be able to score in more of your traditional power play, your half court setup, where you're cycling and you're all that. But I don't like them winning battles. I don't like the defensive ability of the forwards that they picked up is not very good. And I think it's going to have an overall detriment on the team defense aspect, which makes life harder on some goaltenders. Martin Jones sucks. So that's not very helpful. Philip Grubauer, I certainly believe in way more than an 8 whatever.
Well, I was going to say.
But he is, I'm saying league average goaltending.
Yeah.
And I just think that the other teams in the division are they either have a high end somewhere, or they're a little more complete, or they're a little better at what Seattle does, what I think they're going to do well. And the other aspect here, I think Dave Haxtell is a bad head coach.
That's true.
And that's where ultimate stopping ground for me. I think they have a bad head coach. Whatever talent they've added should help. Will it be enough? For me, no.
Yes, I guess because I see what you mean. Like that's not a hard team to play against. They struggled to score goals last year, and every time they looked up, they were fishing a puck out of their net.
Yeah,
they were a decent team. Like they were a decent team.
If you get into their underlines, they were really a mid-tier team.
And so that's
from net to net, they were decent. Couldn't keep anything out, couldn't put anything in.
And so that's why I just look at them and I'm like, cool. If you can do
190-foot team.
If you can do the same thing you did last year with some improved offense, and you assume that goaltending bounces back to some extent. Again, I don't even disagree with a lot of stuff you said. And again, if this is any of the other 3 divisions, to me they're a clear outside looking in. I just think I look at the other teams in this division and I'm like, I don't see anyone that's clearly better than them, other than a couple of the teams.
And that's the thing.
High end.
Nothing would really surprise you.
Right. I think that, and again, similar to what similar to Nashville, I think they addressed some things they needed to address. I've been saying since they had that expansion draft that they swung and missed huge up front, and I think they've amended some of that. I like for them to push this year.
I'm here for it. I would be very happy I hope they make the playoffs.
I think it's
That'd be
too
fun.
much pressure on the kids.
But
I think
I agree.
And see, that's the I keep going.
I think Matty Beniers.
That's the exact reason why I think they do it.
We got to
'Cause
move
what do
on
they care
here.
about?
Yeah.
Seattle's not
care?
that interesting, unfortunately.
They could be.
Not yet. I'm going to go with Vegas next here, as most of us have them pretty far on the outside. AJ, you're the one with them in fourth.
Yeah, I have them in a wild card spot right at the edge of that.
Yeah.
I think they're so much better than people.
I really like
credit
Logan
for.
Thompson, and that's
your selling
my
point?
belief.
Okay.
That's the hinge for my belief here, is that I think he keeps it together.
Sure.
I'm really. It's a good defense. It's a solid forward core. If Jack Eichel can be special, it really, really, really takes them to a different level. You just have a huge problem on your hands every night, especially with an elite defensive forward like Mark Stone next to Eichel. It's so hard.
Their roster is so much better than people give them credit for because everything went wrong last year.
Losing Pacioretty really hurts.
They've lost Pacioretty. They've lost Evgeny Dadonov.
Yeah.
They've lost both of their goalies for this year. So like they've had some huge cuts. But to your point, you go through that roster and it's like there's still great pieces there.
One big concern there is how healthy is Mark Stone, really? Because
It is
back
a
issues
concern.
don't go away.
It is a real concern, but until he actually gets hurt again, I guess I'm just riding the wave.
You just
man. I
assume
don't
that
really
he's fine,
know.
yeah.
I don't. Well, and that's why I only have them topped out here at fourth, because I'm allowing for some, things. The hockey things are going to happen. Another aspect of this, this is going to be the most I've ever talked about coaching in my life, but I really I like Bruce Cassidy, and I really think that he's going to do a good job with that defense. Seeing the way that he handled defenses in Boston and the results that he got from that group, it's a really similarly styled group. He's going to handle it well, and I think that he's going to be able to get a lot out of them. What I'm most concerned about, obviously, is Logan Thompson for real in net, and then the forwards. How deep really are they?
Well, and my thing here, man, with Vegas is Vegas needs a quiet season. They just need to go show up to the ring and play hockey games. Like, stop trying to win every blockbuster trade. Stop shaking up what's happening behind your bench. Stop making changes in the front office for 3 weeks. Like, can you go one calendar month without trying to majorly overhaul the franchise?
Put the shiny toy syndrome away for a little bit and just play some hockey and see what you got.
If they just show up this year and say, this is the team we're rolling with, we know our goalie's not coming back, we're rolling good, bad, or indifferent with these goalies, we're just going to let it happen. I'll bet you they have a better season than most people are expecting. If they're trying to win a Stanley Cup in November again, it's going to be rinse and repeat of last year.
Yeah, I think they're good. They're going to be competitive. I think goaltending caps them at a certain level, and I just think that they're 1 or 2 injuries from being a bottom feeder.
They're one of the few teams that I will say this about, and it kind of is contradictory to how it went last year. They are one of the few teams that has an actual home ice advantage in the regular season. The building's loud. They like to play there. The crowd's really into it. So, like, they've got some stuff there.
We'll see how that crowd goes when they have to face their first 6-game losing streak or something. This is what everyone's been saying. And like, they were still packing the building at the end of last year. Now, I'm going to be interested now. You missed the playoffs. Yeah.
Is the fan base going to respond?
You've got the Raiders competing with them now.
Right. But, and again, to Vegas fans' credit, they were still over 100% capacity at the end of the year last year, so good for them. But I'm with you. Is that home ice advantage that players have said is a real thing?
Slow start to the season. What does that look like in December?
Right.
If they're out of the postseason picture in December, how did that? Whatever. It'll be a fascinating. It'll be a thing to follow, but there's so much more in this division we got to get to.
Got to move forward. If you were to describe one team in the entire league as meh, would it be the Vancouver Canucks?
No, it would actually be the LA Kings.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. We'll get to LA.
Is that not just American Vancouver at this point?
I want to do Vancouver first.
See, my division is very pro-Canada and very anti-California.
Yeah, I was going to say.
All of California at the bottom. We'll get to that in a second. I want to do Vancouver first because I feel like this is the team especially that no one has a great read on.
They just don't move the needle for me in any direction.
Yeah. And I think they'll be an outside playoff team. They retain their own pieces. I like Thatcher Demko.
We know.
But You're looking at that lineup and you're like, what gets you guys over the line?
I'm with you.
For me, I think JT Miller's production will probably chill out a little bit because way too much of it is not coming at 5v5 for it to be sustainable. But I think between Elias Pettersson, Bo Horvat, Brock Besser, Connor Garland, I think it's a good forward group.
Good. The cap's at good. I think.
I like that their defense it's not very good, but it's fine. I don't think it's atrocious, and I think that Thatcher Demko
sounding
is good.
Awfully meh to me.
Yeah, but that's why I have them third in the league's most vanilla division.
Right, for sure.
But they were something like 108 point pace under Boudreau last year.
Mm-hmm. See, they wasted that new coach bump,
and I think that. I'm
saying that sarcastically.
I think that he's a full season of him because you remember they started off so poorly.
Yeah,
it was just
they were bordering on burning it down.
We talk about you can't make the playoffs in October. But you can lose it,
yeah.
Because if you start 1-10 or something, you don't ever dig out of that hole. It doesn't matter what you do. You don't ever dig out of that hole. And that was just too deep of a hole for the Canucks last year. Otherwise, I think we would be looking at them a little differently. Any major losses for them, any major changes, like they were. I think they're another year of OEL. I guess I just think that they're fine. I don't buy them as a serious threat to anything.
Kind of like the Islanders, where it's like. Whatever you do, I'll believe.
I have a hard time seeing them bottom out because I think there's just too much talent there that barring injury, I guess I don't see them bottoming out. But I'm clearly I'm buying in on their stock as I have them in the postseason. And
you're selling the pants off of LA.
So I am absolutely selling LA because the young kids, the young crop of prospects that everybody's been excited about hasn't produced shit. And Quentin Byfield hasn't taken a step forward. Arthur Kaliev can't score goals. He shot like 8% or something.
Yeah, picked up Kevin Fiala though.
That's the one thing, and they pick up Kevin Fiala. So they pick up a soft offense only forward who doesn't fit the style of play that they have at all.
That's exactly what they need.
Yeah, purely because he can score goals, which is great because they were good at generating shots and bad at scoring on them.
You add Kevin Fiala to that round one, and that series doesn't even get to 7 games.
I don't know that. I mean, you add a healthy Leon Draisaitl, and you could do some other things on the other side too, where you say the same thing.
Leon Draisaitl got hurt in like 6 of that series.
You have a healthy Darnell Nurse who was injured the entire postseason, and who knows, right? LA is fine.
Darnell Nurse sucks.
I think they're fine.
I think they're better than that. I think they have the good pieces. I don't
think that they score well enough. I am curious. Kevin Fiala, a healthy Victor Arvidsson. I see the upside there. But Andrei Kopitar and Drew Doughty, we're still having this conversation. Those still have to be their best players.
Look, at this point,
somehow.
At this point, Andrei Kopitar's immortal. Like, he'll fall off when he decides he wants to fall off.
Well, and he plays a style of game that lends, like it ages well. It's the way he
and
plays.
Like Kempe was their highest scorer last year with like 60 some odd points.
And
neither one of their goalies is very
so
good.
My point,
it's a by committee type of team.
I don't mind their goaltending tandem.
Yeah, Peterson was bad last year, and Quick had like a 9-10,
and
which was a huge jump forward for him.
Right.
But I guess I'm more of a believer in Peterson to bounce back.
I was going to say, look,
I like Cal Peterson just fine. I just don't think that.
Let's be honest. This is the way that we've talked about the LA Kings for like 15 years, and they've won 2 cups in that span. This is just like they play that brand of hockey. It's slow. It's boring. It's lame. It's Andrei Kopitar. but seriously, like I think they added Kevin Fiala, who's going to be some nice offensive punch. You got Drew Doughty back, who's healthy. I think this is a team who knows who they are, and I don't know if you can say that for many teams in this division.
And the steps that they took by adding Fiala and continuing to get production that they have out of some of the guys they already have, if you get any step at all from Byfield or Kaliev,
or Turcotte or any of these other guys, come on.
But I'm saying you don't need them to ascend to the stratosphere. Help. You just need them to be decent NHLers, and they're good enough to be in the playoff picture this year. To me,
I think they'll be competitive. I don't think they're an easy out. I just think that
they're just lame.
They are lame.
What's their high end? What's the difference between them and Seattle?
Andrei Kopitar.
What's the high end? Because Andrei Kopitar is not that anymore.
Oh, I disagree.
He's not.
I disagree.
Okay, I mean,
I know that's why I'm saying I'm not engaging any further. I just say I disagree.
The LA player is a high-end player.
They're significantly harder to play
production
against
isn't the only
than
thing that
Seattle.
measures if you're elite.
Significantly harder to play against than Seattle.
I don't know about that. I think they're better coached.
You just talked about how Seattle has no one to dig out pucks.
Yeah, and I just don't think that LA. I guess I just think that LA is underwhelming in all aspects.
Agreed, but yeah, they're still fine.
Let's move on to the actual.
I think they're going to compete.
The top end.
I think that they're lacking.
The top end of this division.
That's easy with that phrase.
Which is everyone has some form of Edmonton and Calgary.
I'm the only one that's differing.
No, do not lump me into being a believer in Edmonton again.
You have them in the playoffs, though.
I am in the playoffs, but I don't have them as Calgary and Edmonton. Sure. I will not fall into this trap again.
Edmonton is the more straightforward team based on their offseason. Yeah, McDavid and Draisaitl are still ridiculously good.
Still their entire roster, and they're gambling in net.
They have
season of Evander Kane and the Nugent Hopkins and Hyman.
They've built some decent pieces around him. Yamamoto has kind of taken a step forward. But you look at the actual depth of their roster and you go,
they really need a step forward from a guy like Michael McLeod.
Yeah.
You know, like they definitely, their bottom six needs a little bit of help.
And is Jack Campbell the guy?
Is Jack Campbell the guy? And defensively, do they have any real answers? I picked Edmonton to win the division for one reason.
Connor McDavid?
No, and it's because I just don't believe Calgary can get as lucky as they did last year, 2 years in a row.
I'm excited to talk about Calgary because they're an interesting team. But look,
So you're not buying in on, you refuse to buy in on Edmonton, and I just refuse to buy in that Calgary gets lucky again. So let's talk about the Flames.
Well, hold on.
I don't think the Oilers are that interesting.
Well, because I think they're interesting because
I think this clock is ticking.
I think Jack Campbell, I think that was a really, really, really interesting gamble for them as a guy who, like, the wheels completely came off last year. His confidence as an all-time low. Like, this is the guy that can fix it. I just don't think that you can continue outscoring your problems.
We'll see
every year.
I mean, the Jack Campbell bet was well, if they're right, good for them, and if they're wrong, well, nothing has changed.
Look, on the flip side, Jacob Markstrom in Calgary,
rock solid,
certainly at least in the regular season. Extremely good.
Was fine in the postseason against everybody other than Edmonton.
Yeah,
Calgary is a team that I find so fascinating. I find so fascinating because I feel like they have the potential to have a season, or at least the start of a season, kind of not unlike what we're seeing with the Denver Broncos right now, where there's been so much upheaval and change.
Yep.
People I think are underselling, like, oh wow, they were able to replace Gaudreau and Kachuk with these other great players. Like, yeah, but those were two giants in that organization. Like, they were the face of the franchise, they were the voices in the locker room, they were the leaders. Mark Giordano had just left. Those were the guys who were, taking the team into battle every night. It's gonna take a minute for this completely new group to get on the same page. I love their defense. I really like their goaltending. Look, someone made the point about Nazem Kadri to me last week, talking about, can this guy replace Kadri? And this person said, Kadri couldn't have replaced Kadri from last year.
Yeah.
Are you going to get anything like that out of him? What does Huberdeau look like now that he's away from Barkov? I think these are all really good players, and Calgary will be fine. They will be a playoff team, but I just don't know if it's going to be the buzzsaw that a lot of people are thinking they'll be right out of the gates.
The way it goes south for Calgary is Huberdeau gets in there and things aren't clicking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Huberdeau playing in Daryl Sutter's system is going to be a major thing to keep an eye on. How does he do when he has to be hard on pucks, when he has to check, and he can't just check with his eyes? How does he do when he actually has to get on top of things and he has to play all 200 feet? How much of an effect does that have on the production offensively? The energy that he's expending defensively that he's never done before.
When he doesn't have an elite defensive forward.
Well, and truth be told, he didn't actually play with Barkov as much as you would think he did, but he didn't have to.
Right.
Because Barkov
did
the
that's what I'm saying.
lifting,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And then
Huberdeau got the easy matchups.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was...
go be the guy.
Where is Huberdeau going to be? And Elias Lindholm, a guy who had such a huge year last year. Is he really going to repeat that? Right. Is he going to repeat that with like in a totally new situation? Nazem Kadri, we were talking about him repeating something too. So he goes right back to the guy he's been his entire career as a 55-point guy. You know, the defense is pretty much unimpeachable to me. It is rock solid.
Arguably the second best defense in the league.
The only reason I think it's worse than Colorado's is because it does not have an elite player on it. It's got great depth and really good players.
Because it doesn't have 3 elite players on it.
But it doesn't have anybody that's going to get serious Norris consideration. For sure. And Markstrom is good. That roster, the forward core is still deep. It still can score goals. It's still talented. You know, you go through it, and we're talking about Huberdeau. You know, you have the Mangiapanis of the world. Yep. You have Tyler Toffoli
of downrange depth there.
Yeah, they've got guys in the AHL, young guys in the AHL who have ripped up that league who could come into the NHL and potentially produce as well.
Yep.
They've got forwards for days, man. They're probably going to need it because my big thing here is they got historic injury luck last year.
Yep.
Are they really
double-digit man game
going
loss
to have 13 guys play 60 games or something, like 65 games from the majority of their roster again? Hell to the no. I refuse to believe it. It's the only reason that I have them not winning the division is because I think they're going to have to put up with some hockey karma.
They were the only team last year, and they were the only team by a relatively wide margin, to have double-digit man games lost over an 82-game season. That is
stupid.
Bananas.
It was actually stupid.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, like if you have 3 players injured for one game, that's 3 man games lost.
Yeah.
They had double-digit man games lost.
That also includes people like your backup goaltender.
Right. I think the next closest team was like just shy of 200. It was crazy.
The Avs will probably hit triple man games lost by December.
Right. I mean, Vegas last year was like into the 500s, and I think Calgary had 70 something.
It was historically lucky on a thing that nobody has control over.
Right. Well, and again,
you can't be like, well, they did a great job, or wow, their strength and conditioning.
Their trainers must be really good.
Yeah, their trainers are the best in the business.
They get them ready.
No, we're done with this conversation. We're getting out of this video. That is the Pacific Division. We still have the Central Division, the one that you all care about most likely tomorrow. Be sure to watch that one, but that pretty much covers it here. So we will talk to you all in the next one.